This journal prompt that I'm going to share with you healed my entire existence. So I've been journaling since I was a child, and it's beautiful to look back and see the growth and the evolution that I've gone through. But I want to share today this journal entry that came to me intuitively in a moment some couple years ago when I was just, going through a little moment. And this prompt just, I don't know, it just fixed me. It healed me. It healed my entire existence in one session. Till this day has been hands down the most powerful journaling session of my entire life. I sat down one day and wrote these 4 words: I forgive myself for. And then I filled in the blank, and then I wrote it again and repeated that process until I filled almost 2 pages up with just a repetition. Like, I forgive myself for ignoring my own needs. I forgive myself for prioritizing others above myself. I forgive myself for saying yes when I wanted to say no. I forgive myself for neglecting and abandoning myself. I forgive myself for neglecting my own needs, myself for undermining my worth. I forgive myself for rejecting or ignoring my inner knowledge and intuition. I forgive myself for staying when I should have left. I forgive myself for lowering my standards. I just kept writing and writing and writing and writing. The thing with this journal prompt is that all you have to do is write it on the page. And your inner self knows what it's been harboring towards yourself. You'd be surprised that a lot of the things you think you hold against others, the resentment you think you hold towards others, sometimes the anger that you think you hold against others, you actually hold against yourself. Because while yes, others abandoned you, while yes, others did not prioritize your needs or did not put effort into you or help or support you, in many instances, you were the first person who abandoned yourself. In many instances, you were the first one who neglected your own needs. You were the first one who did not give yourself the effort that you needed or the love that you required. And you'll be surprised that every time you write the prompt, something will come out. You just have to write it and something will come out because you have a relationship with yourself. Oftentimes you just never sit with yourself and say and allow that deeper part of you to let out what it needs to let out because you're just operating on unconscious mode. And so long as you're on unconscious mode, that inner, deeper part of you just gets shoved to the side more and more. As she continues to deal with the pain of your own neglect to her at times, or of your own mistreatment or mishandling of her, there's no space offered for some of that pain to be processed. And oftentimes pain that we are projecting and putting onto others in a session like this, you'll realize a lot of it is actually towards yourself. Because there is a quote that says, nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. Oftentimes, the first person that is hurting us and letting us down is ourselves. And so self-forgiveness is one of the most powerful and best ways for you to actually reclaim your power. Because like I said, while others might have mistreated you, you'll realize that you ignored your own voice, that you lowered your standards, that you shoved away your intuition and your inner knowing to the side, that you undermined your own self-worth and compromised your values and mishandled yourself. You'll realize that I did that. And when you take accountability towards yourself, not towards others, but towards yourself, for maybe ways you've mishandled yourself, when you sit down and take the time to actually address all of this, that becomes a foundation for self-love. That becomes a foundation for you to step into your power. Because the same way that if you were in a relationship, you would want that person to create space to address any ways in which they've hurt you, at some point you need to sit down with yourself and address all the ways in which you have contributed to your suffering. Because I believe I heard it said that self-love is also addressing the many ways in which you've contributed to your own pain and suffering, with love and compassion, of course. Let's be clear about that part. And it's a beautiful thing because we're all on this journey learning. And once you learn to make peace with you, everything else like forgiving others and making peace and making amends becomes secondary. and you're better able to move forward in a way that honors yourself. Once you learn to give yourself compassion and grace, you release the bitterness that you have probably unknowingly been holding towards yourself. You release the inner tension that you've had. And honestly, that's all that ever mattered the entire time. It wasn't ever what he did or what she didn't do. Although those things matter and are hurtful and are painful, beyond the things we experienced as innocent children, of course, where we had no right or say and we were at the mercy of, our caretakers and, the other people, the other guardians of our lives. But at this stage in our life, what he did and what she didn't do, what he was supposed to do and whatever else, none of that ever mattered as much as you making it right in here, as much as you being at peace with yourself. Because what will it mean once you start operating from a place of being at peace with yourself, a place of inner freedom? What will that look like? Not only at that point does forgiving other people become pretty much easy, because it's secondary at that point, but you actually free yourself of so much that you probably never realized that you were holding internally. Remember, they always say that forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. When it comes to this journal prompt, self-forgiveness is truly 1000% for you. So I don't know where you're at, what you're going through watching this, but if you maybe feel like you've been battling some stuff or there's some inner turmoil, I would encourage you to take a pen, take a paper if you have a journal. If you don't have a journal, just take a paper and write these 4 words. I forgive myself for, and let whatever flow out of it. Because trust me, your inner self knows already. She knows the ways in which she's been betrayed by herself. She knows the ways in which she's been mishandled. She knows the ways in which she's been taken for granted. She knows the ways in which she's been let down and abandoned and put to the side. And I invite you to just keep repeating the prompt until you have nothing left. It might fill up almost 3 pages like me, but just keep writing until there's nothing left. You may be surprised at just the depth of everything that you've been holding towards yourself. But I promise you, you will be so free after. And I do mean freedom like you've never felt before. And I do truly mean that it might be one of the most powerful releases. Just you and you hashing out what needs to be hashed out. You might be surprised of how this prompt allows you a very deep intuitive connection with yourself.